Do you want to know all the juicy details? Hey everyone, it's Natalie. Welcome back to my channel for another video. I'm in a little different spot. I'm using my vlogging camera. I'm just keeping it kind of casual today. I love doing these sorts of videos. I am just going to answer some of the questions that you have for me over on Instagram. And if you're not following me there yet, you should, because that's actually where I do most of my social media stuff. I'm not really a big Twitter person. I don't even really understand it. Please tell me I'm not the only one. It is a gorgeous sunny day here in the Seattle area, and as you can hear, the birds in my backyard are going crazy, but I have to keep that window open because it will get to be 90 degrees in here. So I hope you don't mind the sounds of the birds. I'm probably gonna have to help a 3-year-old or 2 to the bathroom halfway through their nap. The baby might wake up. I'm working on the second cup of coffee for the day. Hope the bird sounds aren't too distracting. It's just kind of like you're in my house, we're having a chit chat, and I hope you like that sort of a thing. If you do, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up while you're watching it. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy Q&As or mommy and lifestyle videos. That's what I make over here on my channel every Wednesday. I throw in a bonus video every once in a while, and I would love it if you would stick around. If you are subscribed, you could do me a huge favor and hit the little bell button to get the notifications. That way you don't miss when I post a new video or when I post one of my bonus videos. I want to make sure that you guys see them, and YouTube has kind of been acting weird lately. So let's dive into the Q&A questions that I got today. You guys had a lot to ask, and I'm just going to be picking ones that I've either not answered before or ones that I find super interesting. This question actually comes from the photographer that did our most recent family photo shoot. She's awesome. I'll leave her information in the description box. But she says, are you working on any goals for your family, business, yourself individually? Yeah, so I'm always working on goals. I'm kind of a goal-oriented person by nature. And as far as for myself goes, I am actually working on dealing with some anxiety that I have been feeling. So when I was postpartum, I had some like postpartum anxiety and depression, and I'm not really dealing with the depression side of things anymore, thank God, but I still deal with some anxiety. And it's the sort of anxiety where I will wake up in the middle of the night completely anxious and frustrated and like scared of the future, and all of my to-do list just keeps running through my head, and I can't get back to sleep, and I just have this like nervous anxiousness, and I'll find myself throughout the day feeling that way. And at times it kind of like gets my heart racing, and I'll feel like a panic attack is coming on. So my personal goal right now is to seek some counsel and some help with that, because that's definitely something that has carried on through this entire year of being postpartum. Business goal, I try to not have those be too strict, because I am someone as a perfectionist who can have like a really hard time if goals aren't met. And with YouTube and this world of being an influencer, it can be kind of daunting and really unpredictable. And so if I just kind of say, Lord, I am grateful for whatever you bring my way, and I'm hopeful that XYZ will happen within the next couple of months or whatever, that's kind of as much goal and planning that I do. But other than that, I just stick with the goal of, you know, having a regular upload schedule, and always responding to comments, or trying my hardest to do that at least. Another goal of mine on social media is to post more pictures on Instagram. But as far as business goals go, that's kind of where it ends. Family goals right now are to do more things as a family outside of our house. And so we're looking into the summertime right now with good weather, and Weston and I really want to take the kids on outings. We want to go to the zoo more. We have a great zoo in Seattle. It's amazing. If you've ever been to the Woodland Park Zoo, it's awesome. We were really inspired by our trip to Disney World to just get out more as a family. It's so much work but it is worth it if we have the right attitude about it and if we go into it with the mindset that we are just building memories with our family. So this summer, that's definitely a goal, to go on more family outings, and one of those outings is going to be a family reunion in August in Idaho, and it's going to be a big trip, and we're going to be camping for the first time as a family. It's a reunion on Weston's side, and so I'm really looking forward to that. It's definitely going to be a first time experience for us, but we're preparing for that over the next couple of months. What is your musical theater background? We hear you sing beautifully in the home and worship team at church. Any other theater experiences? Lots of love. That is so sweet. Thank you so much for that compliment. Yes, I do have a good amount of musical theater experience. I started in musical theater when I was really little. This homeschool group decided to put on a production of The Sound of Music, and it was ragtag. It was just a bunch of like church moms and their kids, and it was so much fun though. And when I first heard about the auditions, I was 8 years old and I wanted to audition. I told my mom, like, this sounds really cool, I'd love to do it. I already like to sing. I had been in little, like, you know, Christmas plays and stuff like that as a little kid, but this was like a bigger deal. And so my mom was all for it, and she helped me prepare, and I got the part of Gretel. That was the first real like play I had ever done.
Oh yes, you're Gretel. And you're 5 years old? My, you're practically a lady.
The next year, the same group, they had a bigger budget, and it was still very homegrown, but still really well done at the same time. And the next year they did the production of Annie, and I auditioned. I was 9 years old, going on 10, and I got the part of Annie. And that was huge for me. It was amazing, and I was just so surprised that I got the part. I couldn't believe it, that I was the lead role, and that's where my love for music and singing and using my belt voice really was solidified. Like I did so much discovery about who I was as a person in that show. It was very formative for me, and you can see, like, I get giddy when I talk about it because I have such amazing, wonderful memories about that time. My sister Sarah, her first show was Annie. She played one of the orphans in that show, and ever since then, my siblings and I would do shows together. The theater company branched off from the homeschool group and like put its roots in Seattle, and it became a pretty big production company. We did Sound of Music again, and I played Louisa, and my sister Sarah played Brigitte, and my sister Christina played Gretel, and so we all got to play sisters, which was awesome. I've done Annie Get Your Gun. I was one of the townspeople, but also understudied the role of Annie Oakley. And then we did Brigadoon, and I was Bonnie Jean McLaren, which is like the dance lead, and that's what really like sparked my love for dance in theater. I really loved the musical part of things, but then I really got interested in the dance and lyrical dance part of stuff, and I love that, and I actually think they're pretty equal when it comes to what I love more. We did Beauty and the Beast, and I played one of the Gaston's silly girls. I also played in that production, what's her name? Lumiere's little fluff. Babette, that's her name, good grief. I played Babette, the feather duster, which was really fun, and I was given that role at the last minute because another actress quit, and so someone had to take her place, and then I took Babette's place. It was kind of crazy. And then I was also Belle's understudy. And then I did Sound of Music again. I played Liesel in that show, and I understudied the part of Maria, which was really fun. And I would say that either Brigadoon or Sound of Music, the very last time I did Sound of Music when I played Liesl. Those are my favorite productions. They were awesome. And then I've done other professional theater in the Seattle area. I worked at the Lights of Christmas in their dinner theater, and we did some like home written shows, not any like, you know, Rodgers and Hammerstein or Lerner and Lowe or anything, but very rewarding, a lot of fun. But I saw much more of the professional aspect of things and how it was kind of like a job. I can make a whole video about musical theater, but it's been fun and I really want to get into it again. And I'm seeing other questions as I go through them asking if I want to be in more plays, and I do. If you guys saw the vlog several months ago where I auditioned for Beauty and the Beast again, I auditioned for Belle, and it was between me and another gal, and I did not get the part, which was such a bummer. The girl who got the part totally deserved it. She was awesome, but I was really bummed out that I didn't get the part the second time around. So I would definitely love to hop back into doing musical theater, but it is a huge commitment. What are a couple of quirky things that you do? I'm trying to think. I have to hear Weston's voice criticizing the quirks for me to realize what quirks I have. He always comments on how I wiggle my feet. When I'm sitting anywhere, I will literally just like wiggle my feet. And it's something that I've always done. It's just like a little thing that I do. Always wiggle my feet. And Haley does the same thing, which is really funny. He noticed it a couple of months ago. He's like, oh, Haley does the foot wiggle thing. The boys don't though. Do you still plan on becoming a midwife / doula when your kids are older? Love that idea. Yes, as far as I am planning at this point, I do still plan on becoming a doula. Especially in this second pregnancy, I just became fascinated with the human body and the female human body and how it can grow a baby and the process of labor and birth. And while I don't want to commit to the time of becoming a midwife or the responsibility of being a midwife, I think caring for the mom would be such a rewarding occupation and one that I could manage for myself. I can take on as few or as many clients that I want to, and I think it's always great to have something to pursue after the kids are grown up a bit. So by grown up I mean probably my youngest being 15 or 16. Even when I was younger, I would always pretend to help my sisters have babies, like when we would play doctor and just do our play pretend. I would always be the person who helped people have babies. And so I think it's kind of always been a part of what I've wanted. What's the meaning behind your name? It's so pretty and I wonder if there's a story. That's so sweet. So the name Natalie doesn't really have a story. It was just a name that my mom and dad really liked. The name Natalie means born on Christmas Day, like Natal, like the Latin root. But I was born in May. In fact, my birthday is this coming Saturday. My birthday is on the 19th. So yes, definitely not a Christmas baby, but my parents really loved the name. The boy name they had picked out for me was Christopher, but I ended up being Natalie. But my middle name does have meaning. My middle name is Marie, and that was my great grandma's name, my mother's father's mother's name. What's your laundry routine? Do you have a set number of amount of clothes for each person in the house? I feel so overwhelmed when it comes to laundry. Yes, laundry can be so overwhelming. I think the thing that has made the biggest difference with my laundry routine was when I just implemented the no fold method. I learned it from Catherine from Do It on a Dime channel here on YouTube years ago, and I was like, I'm so doing that. The idea is that basically kids' clothes are so small, it doesn't matter if you fold them or just throw them in a bin, they will become wrinkly either way, but then those wrinkles shake out really easily because of what kids' clothes are usually made out of. So you might as well save yourself the effort and just throw your kids' clothes. Here's the bin for the shirts, the bin for the socks, the bin for the pants, and so on. So, and I even do some no fold stuff for like t-shirts of mine and leggings, workout clothing, and then I hang other nice stuff. But that has totally changed how I do laundry. It makes it so easy. I want to do a video all about my laundry routine so you see how I sort it out and what methods I use and what soaps and stuff that I use. But I would say the biggest difference is implementing the no fold method with the kids and with some of my stuff. When will the boys go to preschool, kindergarten? So I have been doing preschool sort of activities and little curriculum and little stuff throughout the last 2 years, but mainly during this year. And it's been going really well. I'm really having a casual attitude about it, but I had intended, since before I had kids, to send them to the preschool that I actually went to when I was little, which happens to be the preschool that our church hosts. It's not a daycare, it's like an actual accredited preschool, and it's like, it costs money, like you pay to send your kids there versus it being just a church ministry, but it is also a ministry of the church, if that makes sense. And it is really, really good. The teacher is so dear to my heart because she was my preschool teacher. I will insert here my preschool picture when I started going there. It's just very, very special, and I'm so excited to have the boys start there this fall. They could have started last year, but I wanted one more year, just all of us at home for the whole year, especially since Haley had just been born. I wasn't quite ready to have a schedule where we were going 3 days a week for a couple hours at a time. Someone said, do you play any musical instruments besides singing, and does Weston sing too? So I play piano. Not classically, although I was classically trained. I did like the whole, piano theory and traditional piano lessons for a long time. But as soon as I learned like just to sight read chords and to play by ear, all of that went out the window because my passion is just playing more, chords and chord charts and that sort of a thing. So I do play the piano, and I played the guitar for a little bit, and I remember some chords, but I want to relearn how to play the guitar someday, and all of that free time I'm gonna have someday. But the instrument I do want to learn, and I was just telling Weston this, is the drums. It is an actual goal of mine to learn how to play the drums. I think chick drummers are the coolest, and I love Karen Carpenter. If you guys don't know who she is, she's a singer from the 60s and 70s, and she played the drum track for her recordings and in her concerts, and I love the Carpenters' music. And when I learned that she was the drummer, I was really little. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a drummer someday. The second half of the question is, does Weston sing? I love Weston's voice, and he has really good pitch, and he has a really good voice. He's never been trained, and he's never pursued it. He's never really performed. Like, he was in The Sound of Music the last time I did The Sound of Music, back when we were just friends in high school. A few of our friends were actually in that show. So he's done music things, but never really pursued being a musician. But he has a really nice voice. He has a really nice voice. I love his voice. I got a couple of these questions. Have you ever had any other boyfriends before Weston? And the answer to that question is yes, I have. So I had an elementary age boyfriend, a middle school age boyfriend, a high school boyfriend, and then Weston at the very end of high school. We got together literally 2 weeks before we graduated. So let's start at elementary. Do you want to know all the juicy details? So my elementary age boyfriend, let's call him Davis. Our relationship was the brainchild of his mother. And I've seen this happen before. I've even done it where you joke with your friends about their kids and your kids getting together someday. But Davis's mom took it to a different level. I'm gonna try to not ramble on about this because it's a long story, but basically it went beyond little jokes and little sweet photo ops, and it turned into me believing, or being led to believe, that I was going to marry Davis. I just was going to marry Davis. There was no other way around it. And his mom literally would write love notes from him to me all the time. All the time. I have a little box of stuff that I kept from that, and I've shown it to Wes, and we've just totally laughed at it. To be given this attention in this way, it was my entire identity that I was going to marry Davis, which sounds bizarre. And it would have been one thing if it was just a little, you know, short while in my life, but no, this literally went on until I was 13 years old, which is way too much. And my own parents were not comfortable with it, but there was also an element of it that they didn't really know, and there was also an element of it that they just kind of wanted me to walk my own path and figure things out and learn my own lessons, but they were still trying to protect me. But nothing can really protect a little girl from getting her heart broken by a little boy, 13 years old, who just became disinterested, didn't want to be tied down by this little girl that he was, you know, following his mother's example of writing her love notes. It sounds so bizarre, and it actually really was. Not creepy or anything. It's just one of those situations where it just kind of went too far. Not physically or anything. We barely even held hands. But just in my heart, I was in love, not necessarily with Davis, although he was very cute and charming and I really enjoyed his company, but more so in love with this idea that he was my everything. And it broke my heart when I called him up and I said, "You ignore me. You don't even talk to me anymore. You avoid me. What's going on?" And he said, "Well, I just want to be friends." It broke my heart, literally. There's no way to describe how heartbroken I was. And that was elementary school boyfriend for Natalie. A little while later, middle school boyfriend, I was 13 or 14. There's not much to say. We both had a crush on each other and we went to a couple movies together, and so our group kind of called us boyfriend and girlfriend. But we just kind of moved on from it, and there was no big breakup or anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, we're better as friends than boyfriend and girlfriend, so let's move on. Not much to say about that relationship, and I still know the guy, we're still friends and everything's cool. But it was my high school relationship, and let's call this guy Michael, that really had an impact on me and really shaped my perspective on guys and really shaped what I looked for in a future spouse and ultimately in Weston. So Michael was raised in a pretty tumultuous home. There was a lot of pain and heartache, and it's not my story to tell, so I won't give too many details. I want to respect him, but he had a difficult upbringing, let's just put it that way, and he wanted to be a good kid, and he was a good kid, but he didn't really have a great example on how to be supportive and loving and treat other people, especially someone that you're romantically involved with. Michael and I dated for about 18 months, but the last 12 months of that were really difficult because it's like something changed, and I know home life for him got to be much more difficult as time went on, and he started to take that out on me, and there was some abuse going on, and so he started to take that out on me emotionally. There was no physical abuse or anything, thank goodness, but there was a lot of emotional abuse, and I didn't realize really what was going on. I didn't have the maturity or the foresight to really catch the red flags because I was so young, and it wasn't until the very last performance of The Sound of Music that I was in when I played Liesel. It was like tear down day, and Weston was in that show, like I mentioned before. Throughout the whole run, which we had close to 30 performances, throughout the whole run, I was trying to get Michael to come to the show. And he had caught like the last half of one of the performances one time, but it was literally the last performance. And I paid for his ticket, which is like 40 bucks, which is expensive for a 17-year-old. And I arranged for him a ride to get down to Seattle to come see the show. And it was like pulling teeth to get him to come to this show, which was frustrating in and of itself. But then when he got there, he was very unsupportive, very discouraging, very emotionally abusive, very withholding and toxic. Let's just put it that way. And I didn't really know what was going on. I couldn't name it for what it was. I just knew I felt so sad and bad about myself. And he saw the performance and gave me a, side hug pat and hightailed it out of there. and I was just so sad. And the moment, I remember it. I remember how it felt in my own body to stand there so let down. The hallway in the back, in the green room, and the hallway down for all of the dressing rooms and everything, it was completely empty. No one was there. And they were all out on the stage tearing sets down and stuff. And I was just standing there, like, just completely discouraged and downtrodden. And Weston, of all people, popped out into the hall, and he said, "Good job tonight, Natalie. You did such a good job. Way to just go out with a bang. You're the best Liesl they've ever had, and remember me when you're famous." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And because Weston was my buddy, he's like a brother to me. No romantic feelings for him at the time at all, and he didn't feel that way toward me. We were just always nice to each other and kind, and you know, we were best friends. And he walked back out of the hall, and after hearing how complimentary he was, just without batting an eye, I just really felt like, oh my gosh, I should not be with Michael. This is a bad relationship. This is not good for me. This is not healthy. This is not for me. He is not for me. He's only doing things against me. What am I doing? It was just Weston's example of being so supportive just really opened my eyes to how unsupportive Michael was. I've explained a little bit of this in our love story video. If you want to hear more about me and Weston's love story and how we fell in love and all of that, I will link that video in the description box for you guys. It's a really sweet one. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever put together. We sat down together and talked about it, but that was a really defining moment for me. And that was the last breakup that I ever had. Because within 6 months, Weston and I got together, and we quickly realized that we were meant to be. Well, I think I should leave it on that note because I have rambled on, and this is such a long video. I hope you grabbed a snack partway through. I always end up doing that with like long videos that I watch on YouTube. But yeah, I hope I answered some of the questions that you had and that you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. Use the comment section of this video to ask me and Weston some questions, because we want to do a Q&A over on our vlogging channel. Thank you so much for sending in your questions on Instagram. I had so much fun answering them. I hope you guys enjoyed a more casual video. I really enjoy doing Q&As with you guys. I don't do them often enough. They're easy to do, they're fun, you guys seem to enjoy them, and I definitely enjoy them. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll catch you later.